Hi, my name is Airamas. Airamas makes music, and this is my 88 sessions. I'm gonna do a little set for you guys. This first song is a song I wrote about 6 years ago, so I was in a very different headspace, but I decided to revamp it so you guys could hear it in a new, refreshed, newly understood version of me. This song is called Too Late, and it's out on all platforms now. Is called Hopefully. It's the first single I've written since, I don't know, maybe 2020. Actually, fun fact, I just shot a music video for it, and it's gonna come out later on this month. This song is basically about like being friends with someone and liking them and knowing they like you, though they might be with somebody, but the person that's not cheating all the way because the person is treating them badly, and you're not doing nothing. It's just, you'll figure it out when you hear it. This is called Hopefully, out on all streaming platforms, especially Bandcamp, this one. Girl, you look so far away. Sundays can feel lonely, but did he make you smile today? Sitting high on my balcony, daydreams cloaked to memories. I hope you see what I see. I hope. Our alignment, whining all up on me. Moonlight blinds my instinct, and girl, you know it. Girl, you know what you're doing. Hopefully, by me again. Okay, so this next song is unreleased. It's called Boomerang. I wrote it actually a couple weeks ago, and I performed it a couple weeks ago, and now I'm performing it for the second time. Scared. You don't know who you are Should have seen that, caught my own tired feelings, but I'm done trying to heal it. Boomerang, I see the boomerang. Don't know where you are until you are there. You don't know to be scared until you get scared. Scared. You don't know where you are until you are there. You don't know to be scared until you get scared. Was Boomerang. These last couple songs I wrote in 2019. It's still one of my favorite songs I've ever written, and I'm gonna do a normal rendition of one and a weirder rendition of the other one. This one's called What's on Your Mind. It's streaming everywhere right now. I didn't mention I have merch. I have merch too. It's infusing our interactions. When you talk to me, you never look away. Lean into me, feel the attraction. But I refuse to show my cards today. Hey, I wanna get you all alone. Not for the thing you think, just wanna see how you think. No, I wonder if we are alone. But we say the things we think, just wanna see how you think. So distracted, but I refuse to show my cards in this way, 'cause I just wanna know, 'cause I just wanna know, 'cause I just wanna know, I just wanna know how you are when we're alone. See how you think. I wanna get you alone, not for the things first song started, so I went back. But anyways, yeah, that was What's on Your Mind. It's out everywhere still. The outro part, I just made that up, so that's not out. But there's an outro that if you hear it, it sounds somewhat similar to that. And yeah, that's been my sessions. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for streaming it. I'm Airamas. Thank you. Bye. I'm Airamas. I'm a musician and composer based in Atlanta. Airamas, Airamas. Yeah.
Awesome. And how would you describe your sound?
My sound is still developing, but meaning it kind of changes day by day. But right now, I describe it as R&B roots, jazzy, improvisation, and slightly or lightly experimental at times.
Cool. I think you can really hear that too. And I know we just finished up your live set here at 88 Sessions, and you said to yourself that you kind of like improvised an outro and all that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool. And
Thank you.
It adds like an organicness to your music, which I really enjoy personally. So who would you say some of your inspirations are, though?
I have a lot of inspiration. So like Esperanza Spalding, who's a jazz bassist, but also multi-instrumentalist and multi-genre. I also like Leon La Havas, who's a guitarist, and Tank and the Bangas, which is a band that does a lot of improvisation. But also people like Smino, who does improvise, but he has a band behind him that can also move in that kind of church-rooted kind of musicality. So those are just to name a few.
Nice. Yeah, and I was going to say, because you mentioned some like jazz artists, and I feel like jazz is a genre that's very based around improvisation. Would you say you personally like jazz a lot?
Yeah, I would. I actually was a lot of my younger years I spent in jazz bands. I played jazz flute, and I played saxophone a little bit, but mostly jazz flute. So I think that's why that kind of is somewhat of a foundation for me.
Nice. I feel like flute's an odd jazz instrument. It's not one that you hear about a lot. What was that kind of like, playing flute in jazz band?
Loud, because the jazz band was loud, so I had to learn to project a lot. But it was cool because it doesn't sound like everything else. It kind of cuts through the noise, which I kind of enjoy cutting through noise in general.
And how long have you been making music for?
I've been making music since I was about 12. I didn't release... Well, actually, I released an EP called Catharsis when I was 14 on YouTube. It was for a school project. But in terms of releasing on streaming platforms, I didn't release one until I was 19 a few years ago. Technically 12 years, but for real, I'm going to say 6 years.
And you said that your first EP was when you were 14 years old as part of a school project?
Yeah.
What was that like? Like, what kind of genre was it?
It was really acoustic. At the time, I only really worked with my acoustic guitar, and I was still finding my sound, and I was listening to a lot of just acoustic guitar players at the time. So it was just acoustic, lightly soul, maybe slightly neo soul. It was more nerve-wracking because it was the first time I was telling people at my school that I made music outside of playing flute. So that was the nerves part for me. But it came together.
Is it a project you're still proud of?
I'm proud of it for the time, but don't love it any longer. But it was good especially for not having like any experience with production or for real making songs. It's good. It's put together well.
Okay. What was the recording quality like? Was it like, were you just in your bedroom, like recording on a laptop or something?
Yes, in my bed. I don't even think I had a laptop. I think I had an iPod Touch or maybe an iPad. One of those things. I was recording into GarageBand.
Nice. Was your school kind of like a very musical oriented school, or is this just kind of like something like that was a little bit of an outlier?
So when I talk about playing jazz, I was in middle school when I did that. So it wasn't a super musical school. However, there are really incredible musicians that came out of that school that I know of now. I don't know full names, I forgot. But like Justice, who is a touring drummer, and he has a band that they tour. They play jazz around the world and stuff. So in that way, there are musical gems that were there. But it wasn't a music-specific school. And especially my high school wasn't a music school at all. That was just something I gravitated towards.
Nice. And did you grow up in Atlanta, or is this somewhere else?
I grew up in Georgia. I grew up like around Sandy Springs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I know that you're also a GSU alumni.
Yes.
When did you graduate?
I graduated I think now 2 years ago.
Okay, cool. What was your major?
Computer information systems. I have a IT concentration.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a little different from music.
Completely different than from music. I've done a lot of internships and jobs in tech because even my scholarship to Georgia State was women in technology, a scholarship for women in technology. So I was always on that track and doing music on the side. It's just recently I've decided to pivot and put music as the main focus for now.
What would you say that transition's been like?
It's been scary, but it's been really liberating because it just feels more natural than what I was doing before.
Would you say there's any similarities? I know like something I can think of with like, you know, doing IT work and like audio production is a lot of like computer oriented kind of stuff. Do you feel like some of the skills you learned in computer science were able to transfer over into your music stuff?
Not as much, but because computer information systems is technically in the business college, I think a lot of my business acumen that I use now in my music career was developed out of a CIS study, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like GSU is also like a pretty artsy college, even though we're not known as an art school, you know, especially with SCAD up the street and everything like that. But I still feel like we have like, I don't know, like I feel like the people of the school take it upon themselves to express themselves and like make music, and I feel like maybe that's part of like the fact that we're in downtown.
Yeah.
So would you say like GSU as like a school outside of your major has kind of had an influence on you not only deciding to like make and release music but also kind of pursue that career as well?
I think honestly going to Georgia State, a big reason why I chose to is because I knew it was downtown. I knew there were so many different majors and so many, like I knew Album 88 existed and stuff. So for that reason exactly, I knew that even though I was doing a tech degree, I could still do creative stuff. So I think that did lay the foundation for what I'm doing now.
And I know you also, because you said that you knew Album 88 even before you went to school here, and you also worked on 88 Sessions.
Yes.
So what's it like kind of like being on the back end of 88 Sessions to now?
It's crazy. Because that was only like maybe 2 to 3 years ago. I was a stagehand for 88 Sessions. At the time, I don't think I was really playing music a lot. Well, I always play music at home, but I wasn't like gigging or doing anything like that. So it just feels so full circle, and I feel really like appreciative that I'm able to now come back and be the act. It just feels kind of surreal, honestly. Like it kind of feels weird that we're even in here because I was training to be a DJ here, and now I'm the guest here. Yeah. It's been only a few years. Yeah.
And speaking of your 88 Sessions, I noticed that like a lot of your performances are very like solo performances. You don't have anybody else, and it's just you and your guitar, which I find very interesting and very brave, because I know personally I would be terrified. So I was curious like what it's like being like your own act, and like if you've ever like wanted to be a part of a band, or if you do acts where you're a part of a band.
So yeah, it is kind of very vulnerable to be the only person up there and everything's up to you. But also it kind of it makes me feel a little bit more confident that everything's up to me sometimes, because I don't have to worry about somebody else doing something. However, I do want to play with bands more. I go to a lot of jam sessions now because I just, obviously to learn more improvisation skills, but I want to play more around with people. My answer is I love playing by myself, but I'd also love to play with people at the same time. And I could see myself being in a band and also doing solo things on the side.
Where's your favorite place to do jam sessions at?
Black Music Mondays at Apache Cafe. Okay. That's the first jam session I ever went to, and I was terrified because I didn't think I could improv well, and everybody who's there are touring musicians that tour for like Ari Lennox, SZA, people like that. But I really had fun kind of feeding off of the different licks and rhythms they were doing. So I'd say that's my favorite. And my second favorite, I'd shout out Moon Jam, which is a jam that happens in Old Fourth Ward skate park by this band named Moon Jam.
Wait, it happens like in the skate park?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Like right near the skate park. It's kind of off the Beltline too.
Okay, gotcha. In like the little grass lawn.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I feel like that's like a neat spot to have like a little show at. Yeah, and I am curious because I noticed some of your gigs are in like those more like intimate, personal settings, kind of like 88 Sessions was. And then you also performed at the Atlanta Ice Cream Festival, which I feel like is the complete opposite of that kind of like small indoor setting, and I was curious if you have a preference or if you don't, if you have pros to both.
I think there's pros to both. I do find that some intimate settings I get much more nervous than usual. Like if it's like, say if we were doing something in this room, I'd get very anxious because you're very close to me. You can see everything. You can hear everything. Kind of freaks me out a little bit. But the other intimate sessions you're talking about, I enjoy doing those because I can see people. It's not as hard to connect with people like it might be at the festival, because at the festival you can't see everybody and everyone's like walking around and some people are really far out. But I also enjoyed the festival because I've been a music fan all my life, and I've loved looking at equipment and stage and looking at the stagehands and seeing how sound check works. That's why I volunteered to be a stagehand for Album 88 a few years ago. So that aspect I really loved. So I like doing both, just for different reasons.
And I know you played a show at, I'm probably going to mispronounce the name, is it Buteco? Is that how you say it?
Yes, Buteco.
Okay. And that was a sold-out show, correct?
Yeah,
nice.
It was sold out.
What was that like, performing for a sold-out show?
Scary, cool. Yeah. It was also a little scary because some crowds, even if it's sold out, they're like really shy. Mm-hmm. So the crowd was kind of shy. Like even the hosts, when they would make jokes, the crowd wasn't all the time laughing because I guess, I don't know, they were just feeling shy that night. So that was a little scary. But also when crowds seem a little quiet towards everybody, it kind of makes me feel more excited to do it because I'm less afraid of what could happen because I'm seeing what's happening. That's kind of how that show went.
And I'm curious if you have a favorite performance that you've done.
I'm going to say this one, honestly.
Wow.
I know I keep talking about improving. This is honestly the first time I've improved this much. It's kind of me testing out if I'd rather, a lot of my shows have been rehearsed, like very rehearsed, like exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I rehearse and do it on stage. And this was me experimenting more so with seeing if I'm a better act when I make it up on the fly. And I just feel a lot more comfortable doing it that way. So I'm going to say this is my favorite because this is my first time doing it as much as I did before.
I've noticed like with your recorded stuff, your pre-recorded stuff that is, that you, because when you're performing live, you do like a lot of looping. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is a cool aspect of your music as well, because it like, especially when you're a solo performer, it makes your sound like more full. Yeah. And I was wondering if you apply that same premise to like whenever you're recording songs like in your room or in your house or anything like that. And I also noticed that you have like a bass and like drums in some of your songs. And I was wondering if those were like loops that like you made. I'm curious of like the production of your sound.
Often I don't use a loop pedal often. I'm going to start using it more, but I don't ever use it during production. So it's usually just me playing the whole time throughout the song, and it just is the same thing over and over again. But when it comes to different instrumentation, I just use my guitar and other MIDI keyboards, and when I get my hands on it, like real instruments, to make that sound, because I'm someone who my mind is always everywhere. So I like to play bass on my guitar a lot and just tinker around with the mixing to make it sound like a real bass. That's kind of how I make music. I start with one thing and then I'm all over the place. I'm just adding a bunch of different pieces. The hardest part of making music for me is honestly taking out what shouldn't be there, because I add a lot of things in the beginning, and then when I'm gonna see what should be mixed, I have to look to see what sounds good in this context and what just sounds good but doesn't sound good in that context, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then that's how I kind of polish it, and then that's the song that goes out.
Because I know like you listed a lot of different instruments that you have played growing up. What made you decide guitar and to like kind of stick with that with your recording and performances? Guitar
is the instrument I've always been most comfortable with. I played flute only for a few years. I still have a flute that I could start practicing again, but I played like diligently for just a few years. But with guitar, that was one of the first instruments I got. I'm pretty sure I got one when I was like 8. It's just been the most accessible instrument for me. And so that's why it's what I use live, and that's why that's where I go to first many times to produce. And then I kind of wanted to go back. So you released to your single, Hopefully, correct? Yes.
What was that kind of process? Because I know you mentioned on stage that it had been a little bit of time since you'd made music. What made you decide and kind of inspired you to make that song, Hopefully?
Honestly, it was the process of making Hopefully wasn't that hard, but the process before allowing myself to make it was the hardest process ever, because I hadn't made a full song in a while. And I just wanted to, the last time I released music, I was a 19-year-old college student in a different headspace, living with my parents, still like going to class, wondering how I'm going to get a job and stuff like that. And I've just grown so much since then that I really wanted to make sure that my music was an accurate depiction of how I felt now. And I wanted to perceive music in the way that I am now and not ways I didn't like from years ago. So it took me a while to kind of allow Hopefully to come out. And then one day I just randomly got a melody and then I wrote it down and then it just kept like building from that.
Is Hopefully kind of like a reflection of that like change in thought process between like, you know, being a college student and like, you know, not like the uncertainty when you have as a college student versus like being post-graduated and everything?
That's a good way to look at it. And I might start saying it is. But I think the song isn't about this, but what it represents to me, because it's my first song in a while, it feels like hopefully me putting music first right now is gonna work out for me. And I believe it will, because when I used to gig before the pandemic, I wasn't in rooms like this, but now I'm in a room like this, and I only started gigging again a few months ago. So I would say it's kind of a metaphor for like me just letting whatever comes out naturally and being like, hopefully this sticks, basically.
Well, speaking of you kind of like growing since then, I've noticed that some other stations have been putting your music on their airwaves. So you got put in the Poised to Break Through playlist from a station in Chicago, and then you also got played by a station at UCLA as well. Yeah. What's that kind of been like?
Fun, great, love it. I was very excited when I saw that. I was just excited that I was going to be heard on other radio stations, not just gigs or not just like TikTok promotion, but like naturally someone's just going to randomly hear it when they're in the car. That made me really happy.
Yeah. And I feel like that's like such like a spread as well for like both Chicago and is UCLA, is that?
That's California, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
That is like amazing that like, you know, like you have that spread of like people finding you across the nation. So
and it also feels really good because, like I said, this is the first single in a while, me saying hopefully, and this is the first time I've had music on radio stations, and it's the first single. So that made me feel really good that just the first thing, because I'm always a proponent for getting better each time I release something. So if this is the first thing and it's doing well, then imagine the second thing, and then the third thing, and then the 100th thing.
This single also coincides with your renaming as an artist to Airamas. So would you say that rebranding is kind of like a whole, like including sonic and like, I know you mentioned like your mentality behind the music as well. But I was curious if it's just like a name change or if it's like a whole like rebranding on top of that.
When I said that I had to do a lot of work to come back into music and feel like I'm just doing what's natural, Airamas, having that name kind of denotes this shift into just doing what feels indigenous to me, basically. So in a way, it's a complete rebranding, but to me, it's just putting a name on the changes that have happened.
And so speaking of, you know, you doing all these gigs as of recent, do you have like a dream gig that you would want to do?
This is a little random, but I've always wanted to do BBC Live Lounge. I always like the lights, and I like that I always like these type of mics and that they have weird instrumentation. I've always wanted to do that. But yeah, I've always been interested in kind of doing live studio performances.
Very cool. Yeah, and I know for KEXP, they always cover a song as well. Would you cover a song?
Of course. A lot of my, before the pandemic, a lot of my following I built was from doing mashups of random covers, and I do a lot of covers still. This is actually the first show where I didn't have to do any covers. So I love covering songs and making them sound completely different than they actually are. So
that's one of my favorite things about KEXP is when like you have an artist that comes in and they do a total spin on like their song. Yeah, it's always good stuff. What song would you cover if you could?
But a song that I cover often is Bittersweet by Leon La Havas. It sounds similar, but not exactly the same when I cover it. because it just feels really right. It just feels good in my body when I do it, and in my voice and in the guitar and stuff.
Oh, and I totally forgot to ask you. You mentioned that you recorded a music video.
Yes. I recorded a music video for Hopefully a week or two ago that should be coming out this month, which I'm really excited for because I've never done a music video until right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good wrap on everything. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to say?
Well, you can follow me at Airamas Makes Music on Instagram, AIRAMAS Makes Music. Airamas Music on TikTok. Follow my Bandcamp, please, so I can have money. You can stream my stuff. That would be nice. Merch, link in the bio. And also, I'm a composer. Kind of forgot to say that on stage. I'm a composer, so I compose for like web series and pitch to TV shows and films to compose for. So let me know if you need any compositions or if you need any live music for any type of event or a restaurant or anything like that. My booking email is in my bio. So other than that, thank you guys for having me. Yeah. It's been a very nice night.
Very cool.
I appreciate everyone's niceness.
Glad to have you here.